Hello, folks. I greet you one more time. Welcome to another program in the series Homo Politicus, and reaching you from Enterprise TV. I am Citizen Jones, so you can see we are television active. Let's go there. Dousing the fire in the Middle East. Nigeria backs Biden's ceasefire proposal to end Israel-Hamas conflict. Now, the Arab-Israeli war is as old as Israel itself. So we are talking about a 76-year-old ongoing conflict about land and self-determination within the territory of the former mandatory Palestine. Of course, key aspects of the trouble include the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. But the current conflagration was provoked by an attack on Israel by the military wing of the Palestinian territories known as HAMAS on October 7, 2023. The face-off is 8 months old as I speak and has a frightening potential of escalating. Already the destruction in Gaza is unquantifiable. US President Joe Biden has proposed a ceasefire aimed at de-escalating the grim situation there. Nigeria's Foreign Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, says the ceasefire proposal should be embraced by world leaders. The Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace." End quote. I agree with him. Now let's have a discussion. My discussants today are the old war horses you already know. Comrade Benga Komolafe, Unionist National Affairs Analyst, has joined us. Comrade, I greet you.
Thank you. Good morning.
So as they say, Aluta Continua.
Victoria Sata.
Okay. And then we have Emeka Madonagu, journalist, public affairs commentator. Emeka, welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. And also a comrade.
Okay, Comrade Emeka Madonagu,
Yes.
I welcome you too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the tension in the Middle East is not a laughing matter, gentlemen. So you don't expect Israel to drop the ball anytime soon. But then the United States president is proposing a ceasefire, which I think is something we should exploit, or don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's a welcome development that the Biden administration is doing what a lot of pacifists and peace movement activists have been calling for since the outbreak of this conflict, October 7 last year. The response of the Israeli government, unfortunately, has been rather very indiscriminate, and in the name of destroying the Hamas armed group that attacked Israel October 7, the Israeli forces has, without discrimination, bombarded the people of the Gaza Strip, and as a result of which, estimated 37,000 people have died, most of them women and children. All universities in the Gaza Strip are destroyed. All hospitals in the Gaza Strip are destroyed. Food,
but the Israeli Defense Force,
water, and other essential
Israeli
supplies.
Defense Forces is telling you on information, intelligence, that those hospitals and related places, you have Hamas people hibernating there.
Well, a lot of claims by the Israeli government about the presence of Hamas in those places have also been debunked. The general assumption that Hamas has been using civilians as shield, as human shield.
Cannon fodder, as they say.
Yes, as shield to protect itself, while attacking Israeli forces, has also been very contentious. And for those who are sympathetic to the Palestinians, the argument has also been that before October 7, the Palestinians themselves have been under continued siege. And that what happened on October 7 was a response to Israeli state violence against the Palestinian people. So it's a matter of action begetting reaction.
Okay.
So that it will not be enough.
Sometimes you wonder if the two are equal and opposite.
Well, it may not be equal, unfortunately. When certainly the Israeli response to the Hamas attack on October 7 has not been equal to what Hamas actually did.
Thank you, Comrade, for your opener. Emeka, I'm not passing any moral judgment here, but I'm saying the conflict in the Middle East is 76 years old. It started on the night of the creation of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel has been living with that ugly memory for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything came to a head during World War II. You know, when an estimated, of course, started from World War II, when an estimated 5 to 6 million Jews were annihilated by the Führer, Hitler. You know, yes, both sides have their reasons for doing what they are doing. Hamas indeed, as indeed the Israeli neighbors say Israel should not be there. But Israelis are saying we have a right to be here.
Yeah, well, Israel, of course, definitely lays valid claims to its occupation, to its existence, that it has a right to exist, which, of course, is recognized, you know, by the United Nations. You know, it's recognized that it has a right to exist. Now, Hamas says it represents the Palestinian people who originally occupied the land. Let me not use the word owned the land. Yes, because that will remind me of a song by the great legendary Sonny Okosun, who owns Papa's land. You know, so both sides taking a claim. Israel is already a nation state recognized by international law. Palestine is still trying to adopt nationhood. Now, it has been a mix of, you know, it has been a mix of actions. Some, you know, through dialogue, some through, you know, violent resistance, you know, well, to different levels. Now, efforts have been made to bring both of them together, you know, to agree on talking about Palestine. I'm not talking about Hamas yet. Talking about, you know, bring Palestine and Israel to accept that, okay, can we go to the point of existing, you know, as two nation states?
Yeah.
Now, that's where everything has become thorny. Now, you find out within Palestine, Hamas is the most radical of all the groups pushing, you know, Palestine's demands.
Might I mention Hezbollah, which is...
No, Hezbollah is Lebanon.
No.
They are just meddlesome interlopers. They are not Palestinians. So it's just like, of course, in a street fight, you know, both sides, you know, all the sides will want to get as many sympathizers as possible. You know, when the fight starts getting messier, some people will now naturally, you know,
so that's why Hezbollah comes in.
That's where they come in. And also, that avowed determination that the state of Israel should not exist, which a number of Arab nations had carried on over the years. But in recent years, some nations, you know, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, you know, UAE have, you know, softened on that aspect and said, okay, fine, we can, if we can agree on certain points, can we, you know, live together?
Emeka, and in tow, the Arab League cannot forget the 6-day war.
Yeah,
when they received the bloody nose from the same Israel.
A lot of things have happened since that time. At where we are right now, is the possibility of a two-state solution. Can you have Israel and Palestine side by side? Now, I listened to an interview that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu granted to CNN last year. And when I heard that interview, alarm bells went off in my mind. I said there will be a problem. There will be a major conflict in Israel very soon. You know, as a journalist who has covered foreign affairs for many years, you know, I've learned one thing, that diplomats, you know, they say a lot of things, you know, with coded language, you know. So Netanyahu clearly said that Israel will not accept the two-state solution. I knew there will be a problem. So when on October 7, Hamas, the most radical of Israel,
2023.
Yes, moved in. I said, oh, I said it. But if I said it, then people will say, oh, don't mind him. He's, you know, he likes an alarmist. You know.
But interestingly, Hamas itself also rejected the two-stage solution. You know, the complexity really.
I'm coming. So now, both sides are pushing, you know, extreme positions. Israel saying Hamas must not be allowed to exist. Hamas saying Israel must not be allowed to exist. So, but there must be a middle ground. Because if both of them wipe out each other,
which needs to be steered.
Yes. If they wipe out, if there is they attain mutually assured destruction, it will not pay the rest of the world.
It will be a global madness.
Yes. So that is why the United States, you know, the biggest supporter of Israel, has stepped in, you know, to say, okay, as part of whatever, you know, because, you know, they called it the Israeli plan. They took some of the things that Israel said, you know, which came about as a result of pressure from within Netanyahu's government. Hardliners saying that, look, we'll stop at nothing to ensure that Hamas is eliminated. The hardliners. But again, the US has tried to moderate it, to say, okay, let's bring back that two-state solution. Both of you must commit to accepting it, because that is the way we can move forward. Otherwise, it will hurt our interests. Where Israel sits, where Palestine sits, you know, it's in such a delicate area that any destructive activities that happen there at any time, you know, for a long period, will affect the rest of the world.
Are you telling me, comrade? I'm sure you remember that Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, was listed at a time as the most beautiful city on earth, but it became destroyed by war. This same Middle East Wahala, and it tells you that one of the greatest harms that can be done to mankind is, in a war situation, war uses man's best to do man's worst. So pictures coming from the Middle East these days don't tell me there might be peace anytime soon. So exploiting the ceasefire agreement is to the advantage of everybody. What do you think?
Hopefully, we hope that the US government itself actually would exhibit good faith in its ceasefire proposal this time around. Like I said earlier, people have actually ceaselessly, including several pacifist groups in the US itself, on the streets every day, calling on the US government first to stop harming Israel. Because US hands are being used in the Gaza Strip. And also to see to it that the US actually broker a peace process. But I would say that the real concern actually for any keen observer of the Middle East situation is that the big supporters of Israel, if they are really determined, that is the Western powers led by the US, to ensure a peaceful solution, there will be a peaceful solution. The extreme right wing in Israel, represented by Netanyahu, who they call the warmongers, have insisted that Hamas must be destroyed. But the truth also is that, and as events have also shown in the past few months, that this crisis has escalated.
Yeah.
After October 7. The destruction of Hamas is impossible without the virtual destruction of the entire Gaza Strip. And you
are not saying Hamas is Palestine and Palestine is Hamas.
Because they are embedded in the people. That's the truth, whether we like to accept it or not.
Comrade, you know, my Ibibo people have a saying. Let me try the saying in its raw state. I will interpret. While you caution the kite, you must also speak to the mother hen to keep the chicks safe. So it's a two-way street. If you understand
this issue,
if you understand me.
Sorry, sir. He talked about the two-stage solution, which is not new. Yitzhak Rabin, an ex-prime minister of Israel, was an advocate of this two-stage settlement.
But he got killed.
Sorry, sir. Let me finish. Sir.
Okay.
And he had a partner in the PLO, and the Al-Fatah.
Yeah.
And it took PLO itself a lot to also come to an agreement over the two-stage settlement. So what happened? The right wing in Israel killed Rabin, and everybody, there are people who swear on their mother's grave that what we now call Hamas was a creation of the right-wing faction in Israel itself to ensure that the two-stage settlement will never see the light of day. And so you say Hamas say no, Israel must cease to exist, and the right-wing in Israel also saying no to two-stage. We don't want. We must. So these are two.
What's on the floor?
Yes, and that's what makes it very complicated. So it's not, this crisis did not start in October 7. So,
Emeka, cynics have said the day Israel and Palestine agree to a peaceful solution, that day the second coming of Christ would be will become manifest.
Well, they're entitled to their own opinion, but for me, I think the big powers of the world today have come to see that it's in their own enlightened self-interest to ensure that hostilities do not escalate again in that region. Because adding to what Comrade Komolafe said, that the destruction of Hamas, it will also involve the destruction of Qatar. Because Qatar is the main funder and supporter of Hamas. The United States...
Okay, the Qatari government.
Qatar, of course. Hamas has headquarters in Qatar now. So it's
on behalf... that's why the contradiction gets complicated. Qatar, on behalf of the Israeli right wing.
So you can see that. You see, the thing is, international politics is interwoven in such a way that a lot of times what you see is not what really exists. What you see is not really what exists. A lot of intentions are couched in so much pretense.
Sometimes at a time like this, the more you look, the less you see, and the other way around.
No, the less you don't even want to see, because you are just like looking at something gyrating. With time you become dizzy yourself, and that is what both sides are really engaged in.
So are we in a catch-22?
Well, is it a catch-22? Will I call it a catch-22? The thing is this.
What they mean by Hobson's choice?
No. Is it a Hobson's choice? The Hobson's choice will be that both of them will just be allowed, we'll just keep quiet, let both of them continue fighting until they achieve mutually assured destruction.
Wow.
But the point is, what will happen to the Middle East? What will happen to oil politics? What will happen to... A lot of things will be affected, and a lot of other parties will be drawn in. The Taliban, at the point they wanted to come in, Turkey, Iran, And then look at Africa.
So Iran attacking Israel the other day is a part of this.
Is widening the conflict. Then coming to Africa, why is Nigeria engaging in this diplomacy? Because Nigeria at the point tried by cutting off ties with Israel. It didn't gain anything.
Comrade, just a minute, because we are about leaving.
Okay.
I hope Nigerians are smart enough to distinguish between the Israel of the Bible and the Israel of today.
Well, so you are starting a whole new discussion.
Okay.
Be bothered. But what I want to say about the present Nigerian endorsement of Biden proposal is that, for me, it sounds rather too. It's like we are telling America. The whole world, the whole civilized world, have been calling for ceasefire. You know, we didn't have to wait for America to start saying we support Biden's proposal. South Africa went to the international court, just the ICJ.
No, you mean the ICJ?
I mean, there is to
challenge Israel.
So I think, given Nigeria's position in Africa, we should have taken even more proactive action before now. We shouldn't be seen to be tailing after.
No, but sorry, comrade, don't you see it? Don't you see it? No, don't you see it? Or, you know, that our diplomatic engagements, government, they have really gone tepid. Look at South Africa and some other nations openly supported Ukraine. You know, well, try to broker peace between Ukraine and Russia. Let me put it that way. But Nigeria was nowhere to be found. We are just making statements from Abuja.
Well, I think Nigeria.
Emeka, again, my people say, no, me say with the quarrel, you carry me not for granted, me say you don't win.
Yeah, but where is Nigeria?
So we have not been, you must play it cool.
We have not, but we have not engaged in shuttle diplomacy. In the past, we would, you know, people like Obasanjo,
Emeka, are we in a hurry?
Bolaji Akemi, some of those people would have, you know, been sent out on shuttle diplomacy. But it appears the administrations of Buhari and Tinubu, you know, just prefer to sit in Abuja. And like Comrade said, you know, just follow America.
Do you still have men cast in the mold of Bolaji Akemi and the rest? Do we still have them alive?
No, they may not be in the foreign ministry, but I believe we still have people of international influence in Nigeria, you know, who can at least. What is Nigeria's position? That is even what Comrade is trying to say. Yeah. We are talking of supporting. Okay, if we are supporting America, there are 3 legs of that proposal. First of all, release all the bodies of the hostages, including American hostages.
Yeah.
Secondly, release
the bodies of the 4 that were known to have been killed.
Of everybody.
Release the hostages.
Then to release Palestinian, release some, because that word was used, some Israeli hostages, and then hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Then 3.
There are still some fruits.
No, but then 3. Then 3. No, look at that's the American position. I'm not talking of Nigerian position. I don't see 3. Support that Gaza should be rebuilt and then dovetailing into the 2-state solution. Does Nigeria want Gaza rebuilt? Does Nigeria want the 2-state solution? Then are we now taking it that, okay, everything that Biden has said in that ceasefire is right?
That's what it would suggest.
Then would we now have we sat down to think of the, you know, fallouts, the consequences of that Biden proposal?
Yeah.
Have we, or we just sat down and okay, now let's just issue something quickly?
Emeka, don't give the impression that Nigeria, my Nigeria, your Nigeria is not a thinking entity.
No. It may not. No, it's not about thinking. It may be in diplomacy. You can play safe.
In diplomacy, you also think.
No, yeah, you think in the direction of playing safe. Let's not say something that might affect our relations with either side. So let's just play safe and say, okay, we support Biden's proposal. Yes, now you can play safe. You are allowed to play safe.
Emeka, let me appeal to that safety sentiment. It is time to wrap the show. but not before thanking Comrade Gbenga Komolafe, as always, is a war horse, as I described at the beginning. Comrade, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You'll come again, won't you?
Sure.
All right. And we have Emeka Madonagu, journalist, public affairs commentator.
Thank you so
Emeka.
much. Thank you very much.
All right. I cannot let me repeat the saying of Aristotle. He says, "It is not enough to win the war; it is more important to organize the peace." The Middle East can do with relative calm and peace, which will be good for the whole world. I'm out of here. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.